Working on a FS 110R Stihl straight shaft weed eater. Come in, it didn't run. I went ahead and tossed a new carburetor on it because the other one was, the bulb was busted, and it's just dang near as cheap. It is as cheaper with labor to toss a new carburetor on it than it is to rebuild it nowadays. Let me show you what it's doing now. When you start it, the head turns all the time. You can't idle it down far enough to get it to stop or anything like that. So what's going on is the clutches, the clutch shoes are stuck to the drum. And they should release and allow it to freewheel until you give it the gas. When you give it gas, it throws the clutch shoes out, it grabs the drum, and it takes off spinning. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right. We'll grab this little screwdriver, see if I can stop the head. We're not stopping that. See? It's my vice. You can adjust the idle here. It idles all the way off now. So you speed it up. But when you adjust it back like that, it should stop. So we'll take it apart and I'll show you how to fix this. Okay, you pull this screw, these two screws, and that one right there, and that cover will pull right off. I'll need both hands to do it, so hold on one second. Okay, like I said, it just lifts right off. Now, those clutches, let's see if I can see it. You can't hardly see it. The drum is right in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to detach the engine from the shaft. Not a hard process. We'll go ahead and pull it apart, and we'll have to deal with the kill wire and the throttle cable, and we'll just sucker right off there. Give me 1 second. Okay, once you pull that screw out, then the engine, I had to pull on it pretty hard because the state of the shoes being locked into that drum. You just pull right off, and you can take this engine then. Let me shut this computer. That way you don't see my customer's info. This clutch here is hung. It's hung out, and you see that the spring is extended. The spring shouldn't necessarily be completely tight, but it shouldn't, this thing shouldn't be locked up like this. So, man, you guys are getting quality camera work today. I broke my tripod, so this is the best I can do. You gotta take these two screws out right here, and when you get them out, the pivots for these are gonna be stuck. So you got to get them cleaned up. Wire brush on the bench grinder works real good on these pins. Excuse me. And I'll go ahead and clean these up real good. I'll put just a touch, and I know it's hard to do with anti-seize, but I'll just put a touch of anti-seize on each one of these to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And then we'll take a little emery cloth and we'll clean up the spots in here where the shoes were stuck. See how freely that turns? The clutches should turn in here until you gas it, and then it spreads out and grabs and turns it, and that's how that works. So I've got a small tripod. I'm going to get you set up so you can watch me take this apart, and I'll show you what sucker's still warm. I'll get you set up. That way you can see what's going on here. Okay. If you don't have one of these, get you one. They're for the little impactor drills, 1/4 inch. It's a T27. The little socket bits don't work too good. See all that rust? You can't see it. See all that rust that just fell out of there? That's what's going on, is everything's rusted up. Get in there. Ow. Can't do nothing with my left hand but hold stuff. Alright. Give me a second. Alright, I just got me a little filter band wrench to hold it so I don't chew my fingers up. Like I said, only quality camera work around here. Just tighten that dude up. And there it came. Now, these have a little washer. Make sure you don't lose the washer. And then here's the clutch. Here's the backing plate. Let's see if I can get, there you go. See how that spring is not spread out anymore? A while ago it was spread out. And what's going to happen is I'll have to put this in the vise and I'll have to drive or pry them off of these pivot points because that's where they're hung. And then I'll wire wheel them up and touch anti-seize, put it back together, and it'll work like a brand new one. Alright, I pried the backing plate off of it, and we'll clean this up on the bench grinder as well with the wire wheel. And then this is this little clutch set here. If you twist it, it'll pop right apart. See, they just hook in here. It's hard to do that on a camera. They just hook in there, and you just, when you hook it, just stretch it out and flex them together, going back together. But it's these little dudes right here. Focus. Those little dudes right there that need to come out. Okay, well, sometimes this happens. I chalked this up in the vise and was trying to work this pin out over there, and unfortunately it broke. So I've got a new one here, and you can see how much bigger the hole is than here. It's because it gets these little pivot pins in there. They go right in there, and then you can put your backing plate back on, run your screw through there, and get it put back on. I'm going to set you back up, and I'm going to show you the process. I like using this copper. I don't like the silver stuff. This is the high temp stuff, and this, you know, with a lot of use is probably going to get pretty warm. It probably shouldn't, but a lot of people put cutter heads and stuff on there, and it's just ideal to put the high temp stuff in there. And you take this little bushing, and it only goes in one way. See, it goes in that way. It won't go in this way. So before we put this in there for the last time, we'll put a little bit of this anti-seize on there. And I mean just a touch. That is plenty right there. Oh, good grief. This stuff just gets everywhere. All right, let me get it cleaned up a little bit and I'll come back to you. Okay, I went ahead and run that back down on there. Now there's a couple key things that you want. You want to make sure your washers are under your bolt heads, and on your backing plate, here's the old one. You want the bushings that I put the anti-seize on, you want the collar of the bushing to stick through here. So You got to have those two things. Now you can see that's on there and ready to go. Just bolt it down. Now for the drum, I use one of these. They make short work out of cleaning up that drum. Use what you got, emery cloth, Scotch-Brite, whatever. This one's super fast, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so you got your drum here. I always take a small screwdriver, and I'll stick it through the fin. You can see it there, and into that drum, and hold on to it. And then you can stick this, it's almost a perfect fit in here. You see all that coming out of it? Needs a little more. Don't take long this way. There we go. That's what we're looking for. Now you can see it's not all rusty anymore. It is uniform all the way around. You're not going to have any grabbing issues or anything like that. So I'm going to grab the power head and put it back on, and I'll show you the finished product. Like I said, the only thing that holds the power head on here is this bolt, and this bolt. But you have to, you got to make sure this dowel's in there. I think there should be a dowel down there, but it didn't have one, so I'm not going to go source the part. But once you get those on there, you just hook your throttle cable, your two wires back up, you put your cover back on and everything, you're ready to go. I mean, that's a few screws, plus the one in the breather cover that you have to take apart. Okay, we're going to give it a shot here. I just got the engine put back on, or the power unit, whatever you want to call it, power head, put back on it. Haven't started it yet. Now that head, yep, you can see it. It may take off as soon as I start it, but it should stop. And then we'll set the idle according to the head. Yep. Well, look here. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's it. Take you off the mothership here. That is how you fix that stuck clutch problem. It's very inexpensive. I think the clutch is 30 bucks, something like that. Usually if you don't, just break it, you can clean them up with a grinder. I wish I could have showed you that, but maybe I'll make another video on it someday. Anyway, I appreciate y'all. Do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Ring the notification bell for more tips and tricks like this. All right, y'all have a good day. God bless.